Hello, welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to do something a little bit different today. Instead of doing a colouring chat, I'm going to do a little painting chat. So I'm not sure how much painting I'll actually get done, but at least you can see some of the thought processes that I go through when I first start one of these paintings. So if you haven't already seen, there is a playlist up on the channel. They are YouTube shorts and they are me painting these Pantone postcards, so they're time-lapsed videos, and basically they're just a little set of postcards you can get on Amazon. I will link them down below in case anyone's interested, and you get lots of different colours. There's so many cards in this pack, 100 different colours, and they're a very smooth surface. So what I always do first is I prep these cards with a clear gesso. I just brush it on, I allow it to dry for 24 hours, and then I do my painting on top of them. So that's just to let you know, don't go straight in on top of there with a paint because it won't sit well, especially not if you're using gouache. So some of the paintings I've done, this is a more recent one, this is a sunset. Done some lemons. I did absolutely amazing series, the Last of Us series, Joel and Ellie. This was off a quiz show over here in the UK, Mr. Chips. I've done a lily, I've done a sea turtle, that's one of my favourites. I've done a lavender field, a rose, a ladybug, a swan, sunflowers, a sort of woodland, autumn woodland, a coffee of some sort, Rick and Morty for my daughter, a butterfly, an aerial view of the sea or the beach, a tree frog, a rainy day window, baby Yoda of course, Grogu, some sort of flower, I'm not sure what species of flower, pansies, a bee in honeycomb, and this was the very first painting that I did, and you can tell the difference, how very basic this is. There's no shading in those daisy petals or anything, so to look back on the very first painting I did and looking at all the others, it's, you know, if you do something every day or at least once a week, because I don't really do these every day anymore, get your words out, Kirsta. But if you do something on a regular basis, you will see improvement in things. So I'm going to pop them back in the box over there, but today I have already prepped this card so you can see the texture on it now, and you can hear that graininess, and this is the base you want for your painting. So I'm just going to, I think there's a little bit of the washi tape, I've put washi tape there just so we have a crisp edge when I've finished the painting, but I'm going to pop it on here like so. But this one I'm not going to paint a background on because I am just going to do, well, I've not even told you what we're going to paint today, have I? Let's bring you down a little bit. I've decided that today, let me clean the lens, I know that's annoying but it looks dirty. Today I've decided we are going to paint an ostrich. Pretty random animal, wouldn't you say? But I just thought they look so funny, I just want to give it a go, and they're all very fluffy as well, and I like painting or colouring fluff even. And this will kick off my birthday colour along sort of thing that I've got going on this month. So if you've not already seen, I've got a hashtag over on Instagram, you can join in over on YouTube, you can send me your finished pages either on Instagram or via my email, and it is colour any animal from any book and use the hashtag Kirsty's Birthday Animals 2023, and I will compile them all and I'll pop them in a video at the end of the month. So if you want to be featured in that, just make sure you send me your pictures and tag me in them so that I can see them, so that I don't miss any. But yeah, so I'm going to kick it off with an ostrich, why not? Now you will see the very messy process that I go through because, you know, I'm not a brilliant artist. I sort of just go with the flow, don't really have a clue what I'm doing, but yeah, you'll see the messiness. So if I've got my eraser anywhere, because I will be needing it, I'm just going to at first map out a very rough, it'll look very, very, very basic, but once you get the painting in, it looks so much different. So I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit. I don't want it to be going blurry, but I think that's all right. Now I'm going to have this ostrich being sort of face on, I think. So yeah, bear with me because yeah, it's going to be quite tricky, the dimensions as well. So I am going to have his neck sort of, I'm not doing his body, it's just going to be from sort of his neck. So I'm going to have sort of his neck about, how would you say, a bit there, so it's central, maybe. Don't worry about any pencil lines, you can, you know, we can cover them up. You can even, once you've put the initial outlining in, if you've got a kneadable eraser, you can just go like that, dab it, and it'll take some of the pigment off a little bit. So I'm thinking, can you hear that emergency vehicle already? I'm thinking of coming up to about here, because he's got quite a big head, I'm thinking. And then if I'm going to get a rough outline. I should have just put the eyes in first, not get a rough outline. To be honest, it doesn't really matter what the outline looks like so much, because he is covered in fluff. Ostriches are covered in fluff, so this line you won't see as a sort of line like that. All the fluff's going to be coming out of it, so well, you'll hopefully you'll see that soon. But yeah, these are sort of his little cheeks almost coming out. His beak's going to be somewhere around either side of these cheeks, central. But I think I might see, I'm thinking his cheeks there, and then his eyes sort of above the cheek a little bit. He's got lots of eyelashes as well on the reference that I've picked. I get all my references off either Pixabay, or there was one I found called Free Pix. I think it was called Free Pix, and that just makes sure that you've got permission to use a reference to copy from, basically, because you don't want to be getting into deep water, do you? Not that I'm selling any of these, but you know, you don't want to get yourself in any hot water. So I'm going to roughly try and guess where his nostril little nostril things are, and I'm going to have a guess at that. Don't forget, we've got our eraser. If anything you do at the end, if it's not looking right, if you think the proportions are a bit off, you can switch it up, and you can even switch it up right to the minute, right to the moment that you're painting almost. So yeah, that's in there. His eye there, I'm just mapping it out. It's got to be somewhere there. If it's not right, I'll change it, don't worry. But I'm thinking there for now. It's a bit of an odd shape on that side. So now the beak's the hardest thing for me, because it's the way that it's facing forward. It's the sort of angle it's on. I'm going to start off by trying to work out how far down comes from here. I'd say about here, and then it's sort of, it's central, so that's the narrowest part of the beak. It looks really funny at the minute, doesn't it? It looks like their eyes and a mouth. It's not, it's nostrils. But you can see how really, I'm just going to get the top of the beak above the nostrils. So this is the bit that joins to sort of its face at the top. So I'm just thinking about something like that. You see where you can see the top of the beak now, that's where it attaches to the head, sort of thing. So that's gonna come down, and then it's gonna come, I'm trying to map out where it's coming down. It's coming down more, so it's just over the nose like that, really quite close to the nose. And then it's gonna come back out into that cheek. So he's gonna have a bit of, like I said, don't worry if you're making any mistakes. It's just mapping out. So I'm looking at my reference picture and I'm trying to work out what's what. So try and get that bit around the nose, and then we can see a bit better. I think possibly like that. Oh, when I was looking at reference pictures of these ostriches though, there was so many hilarious poses, and I was like, oh, I love that, but you know when you just think, oh, I'll not be able to pull that off and then it'll just look so silly. So it's really strange how the beak looks at the moment. I'm trying to work out where that bit's going, and then there's another bit underneath because that's where the beak opens up. This little line is where the beak would open up. That's the top bit of the mouth and the bottom bit of the mouth, if that's making any sense. So under here, under this bit, there is another bit around, probably around there, and this bit comes out a little bit and then it joins up to that, probably around there. I don't know if that's too straight though. It would be more like on an angle. Let me just use my eraser. Watching the mess unfold, guys. I swear to you, it will look better than this in the end. I want that. That's more downwards as well. I can always fix it when we get the paints out. But yeah, it's more up, and then because that would be the arch on the beak sort of thing. And then we go around here. That's where it joins that one up there, sort of a bit like that. It's coming together, you can see. This still looks a bit like a mouth and two eyes, but let's just hang in there. Once you get all the textures in as well, because there's lots of colours and textures, once you map out all the different colours and things, it's alright. Right, I'm going to straighten up this nose now, this beaky bit here, so let's try and aim to get that fixed a little bit. I think I need to fix these nose holes now. These nostrils, I don't think they're quite where I need them to be. I don't think that one is. So you can change it up. But I'm going to mark in a little. This is where there's a colour difference. A bit of texture going on. I think like that. This one's alright. This nostril's in the sort of right place, I think. It just needs bringing out a bit. To just get rid of that line a little bit. There's a blue butterfly buzzing around me. Oh, they're so annoying. Aren't they though? World's most annoying things ever. So it's round here. Goes more like that on that side. I've still got this coming up. Yeah, I think it comes out a bit more though on this side on the reference. The sides of the mouths are really distracting me. this bit. You know what, it doesn't look wide enough from one side to the other at the minute, or something looks wrong here. Because that's too close to that. When I'm looking at my reference picture, it should be more here. Like that, almost. Yeah, so that first line, we're gonna not acknowledge that. It doesn't matter that it's still there because we can cover it up with the paint. But that first line's just gonna disappear with the paint when we're painting. And we're gonna go with that line instead. This bit looks a bit funny still as well. I don't know what it is about this. I think this is a bit more possibly rounded like that. There we go. And it definitely does have these big chubby cheeks here, so they're in the right position. I think maybe this one just needs to come out a tad more. That's better. It looks so funny at the minute, I can't even. This is what I mean though. Don't be put off by your initial lines, guys. It's so easy to just go, oh my god, where's that? Let's remove myself from that now, but I'm just trying to judge how far up his head is now, so I'm gonna say that this is the top of his head. So I'm gonna put a little dot there at the minute, if you can see my little dot that I've made. And then his eye socket is kind of in this little gap here. So his cheek comes round, his cheek comes up, and then we've sort of got this little socket that attaches to this little hump here, and then his eyes in here somewhere. So it's really, he does have some quite good eyelashes as well here. So he has like a little, that's a bottom lash, what's sort of just flipping down there, just to give myself a little guide. And then I would say, where are we going with this? That needs to come up here a bit more. You're leaving about that much of a gap from here to here. And then that's the cheek. That's actually coming up around there. I would say, and it's gonna hit the eye almost. I'm giving you running commentary on my thoughts here. If we need to change anything, like I say, it's easier to look at it and think, oh, I'll just fiddle with that and change that bit, or change that bit. It's easier to do that. So off of here, he's got lots of lashes, so you want to go downwards. So with the lashes, they'll sort of be like that. And then he's got all this fluffy fur here coming off the top of his head, but generally his hairline is just meeting up with the top of the eye like that, with the eyelashes. This looks so funny, guys. I can't even. And we're gonna, the top of his head and his cheeks are gonna be really fluffed out, so the whole shape of the thing will come together when you start painting it. Honestly, it will. Let me put it back that way a minute while we try and figure out where this other eye is now. So that's the sort of, I'm going to change this beak because it needs changing. It's sort of more like that. That's it. I It's more rounded on that side. So it's a bit trickier to tell on the reference picture on this side to that one. Let me have a think about this. It's got like a, you can see on this side, you can see more of a like a hooded lid almost. It's got this line coming from about here, there. It's like he's raising an eyebrow. I'll fix this in a minute, but I just need to get the initial placement. And this eye's in the shadow as well, so it's really quite tricky. And his head's at a sort of a little tiny tilt, I want to say, not a noticeable tilt, but let me bring this picture closer on this side of me, then I can see better. Right, so it's this bit, then we've got the cheek here, so the eye is about here. Somewhere here. I'm going to have to fix this, but I need to initially get something in, and then I've got something to play around with almost. And that's, again, it's going to be a little line under there somewhere. I think that's too far down, that's what it is. Let's get that line off there. I think this needs to be a bit. The eyelashes are going to cover up the top of this eye as well. They're going to come from here and come down like this one. But yeah, generally, I think that's pretty much how it is. The cheeks coming more from here. I think that's it. I'm going to get the lashes in. So the lashes, again, coming from the top of the eye round, and I can do those better with a paintbrush, but they will be hanging over the eye. And then that lid's just that lid. And then his head is coming from there. Somewhat. Sort of like that. Now I'm just going to take a step back and have a look if there's anything I want to tweak. Now this eyeball is actually, it's like that. And then it's very dark. He's got like very dark brown eyes, so it's very hard to see where the actual iris would be, but I'm thinking looks like somewhere like that. This one you totally can't see, it's totally dark, totally dark. Right. I need to put my lines in here now, so I think this needs to be a little bit more rounded, but I can probably fix it when I come to painting. But it does have this line what comes off and joins onto that one, the line in between these two. I feel like this needs to be elongated. Yeah, that's better. It's like a huge mess right now, but it's method in the madness. And again, finding the line that's on this side. This bit's black under here, this sort of chunk here. But I think that's the best I can do on the initial drawing, and everything else is going to be in the details. So this is quite heavy on the pencil. So if you want to get a kneadable eraser, I just try to lift some of that pigment, because sometimes if you're going in with lighter colours of gouache, it can show through the paint. I mean, once you get your layers on, it's fine, but I like to just take some of that, because you can still see where your lines are. You're just making sure that they're a bit dull done. Oh, this is going to be such a fun one to paint. I'm not even gonna lie. Right, so I'm going to get, first off, I always go in with the initial, I'm going to get a different angle on this because it's going to have an awful glare on. Let me try and, we're a bit wobbly, but let me try there, and then I can bring it in. That's a bit better. Don't go blurry on me, don't go blurry on me. Right, so I've popped out a few different colours on here. I am using a mix of Winsor & Newton Designer's Gouache and the Himi Gouache. So I've got lots of browns. I'm going to start off with my darkest colour as a base. So I'm going to go in with this one as the base all over, and then we're going to use the lighter colours on top. So let me find a paintbrush which I think will be good for this. So I got some new paintbrushes recently. They're not the cheapest, but they are really nice. These silver black velvet, and I'm going in with a number 4. They're really, really nice. So I'm just wetting this gouache that we've got here, this colour. The good thing is you can layer and layer and layer with gouache, and it just gets better. The more you layer, the better it gets. So I'm just gonna go in all the areas where, why are we so blurry? Hello, where's that blurry? I might not be able to zoom in like that because it might just have a, I don't like that glare though. Is that better? Yeah, so I'm gonna outline his head. I'm gonna base all this in this colour. Don't worry about going over the lashes or anything. I know where they'll be going. It was just to sort of show you what I was doing and what I was planning. But I know where they'll be, so that's fine. If not, if I go over anything, I can always resort back to my reference. But it's just so much easier when you know, rather than trying to freehand it all. There is some paintings which I've gone in freehand, but nothing like this, where I don't know how to paint an ostrich. I don't think I've painted a bird yet, actually. No, don't think I have. It's be quite fun. Right, so that's get to here, and that's sort of where I want to be on the cheek, isn't it? Don't worry if you go over lines what you don't want to go over, you can fix it after. Like, I do want to make that a bit more rounded there, so I can do that. Make him look like he's got something in his cheeks. That's what they look like. They look like they're carrying something in the cheeks, like little hamsters. Gouache goes a long way as well, by the way. It really does go a long way. And down the big long neck. There we go. And on that side. Just come up underneath the beak. Just thought it would be fun to, even if I don't get very far with this painting, I think it'd be fun to just pop on, show you the messy process. Why not? Let's fix that little neck that I've done there. You have to be quite careful with gouache because you don't want it, well, you can use it in a very thin consistency. You can use it, you can even water it down as much as you would water a watercolour down if you want for your initial base layers. But then you want a nice creamy texture. You want to be using it in a nice creamy texture, but you need to be careful not to have it too thick, because if you have it too thick and don't apply enough water to it, then what it can do, it can, as it's drying, it can start cracking. And I have done that a few times, like more times than I care to mention. I have done that so many times, but you know, that's how you learn, through, you know, trial and error. Might need to pull that out a bit with the colour I use later. I've just gone over it a little bit. I do like the number 4 for getting into little areas like this. And then as it comes to putting hair strokes in after, or feather strokes, I might switch to an even smaller brush. I have got some smaller ones. Let's just get in between that beak there. Been to town this morning, got my new glasses. It's a game changer. It's a game changer. I've always been a glasses wearer since being about 11 years old, but it's the first year I've actually bought some prescription sunglasses. Oh my god, why didn't I get them sooner? That's all I've got to say. I've been struggling driving, because you know, you can put these sun visor thing down in the car, but you still get blinded. You still get blinded by the sun, so I thought, go on, I'll treat myself. I'll get some prescription sunglasses this time, and oh my god, they're so amazing. So good. I'm like, wow. I'm no longer straining my eyes when I'm driving. So you can see the initial base there has gone down. It's looking a hell of a lot better at the moment. Now, I'm thinking, because obviously this is the eyeball, and that's going to be sort of a bit lighter than this brown actually, I think. But then we're going to have black. Yeah, let's just go in with the black and get those pupils filled in first, I think. Let me just add some water to the black, because I didn't do that earlier. Failed to do that earlier. The beak, depending on what reference you look at, sometimes they're black and grey, sometimes they're very, very pale grey but very, very pinky. I'm not sure what I'm going to do in a minute. I might do a little mix. We'll see. What do you think? Do you think I should add some pink into the beak while she's... I'm going to say this ostrich is a girl, because we're going to give her some fabulous lashes. It'll probably be more a cartoon style ostrich this than a realistic, guys. Being honest with myself. Being realistic here. Right, then we've got to try and sort of guess a little bit where this one would be. Just get this bottom bit figured out a bit better. There we go. And then obviously with this black, I'm gonna, or should I do the background first? Yeah, I'll do the other bit of the nose first, because if I go in with the black, I might be catching the black when I'm trying to do the pink bits on the nose, beak even, which won't be good. There we go. So let me look at some reference pictures for the beak. I think I do want a bit of pink, but I think it's greys as well. I'm going to mix up a grey. I've not actually got a grey on my palette here, so let me mix a bit of grey. Oh. See, these are the little Winsor and Newton paints. I'll link everything I'm using down below in the description box anyway, just in case you decide, oh, I quite fancy a go at that. Because you saw the daisy chain that I started off with whenever I first started doing these paintings, and there was no sort of shading about it or anything like that. I would do things so much differently now. In fact, that might be a fun idea to go back and do another daisy chain and compare them and just compare the difference. Right, so I'm going to go in with the grey all over the beak to start with, and then we can put the details in on top. When we put the details in, that will be the key. That will be the key. So I'm going to put pink on some of this beak, and then I'm going to do a lot of sort of details with, like, don't you find they have like little scuff marks on the beaks, like little scratches and little strange marks? Try and fix that. Right, I don't want to go over that nostril just yet. Want to make sure that this is rounded and not got a point on it. Oh, we went to the circus as well. I forgot to put videos up. Forgot to put videos up at the circus. Here, I'll pop them here so you can have a little look. Have a little look at these videos. one of my daughters was amazed at because they love the Disney songs, and one of them was dancing to, was it Gaston, the first one from Belle, and then I forgot the other song. I forgot the other song, but there we go. I'll try and be careful around here. Like I say, all the detail will come in last on this beak. I'm just gonna, I'll do this bit first. Do this side. I nearly dipped into the wrong paint then. That would have been a little disaster. All those details I've just put in, I'll probably have to look at my reference and redo them because I've just painted over them. This is why it's handy to keep it close to your reference, even after you've put the initial lines in. It looks hilarious right now, this. Hilarious. Right, where's my white? I'm going to lighten up my grey a little bit. Just lightening up the grey at the side on the palette. You can't see it because I'm not zoomed out, but that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to go in with this central bit. Everything will look dodgy at the moment, guys. So when you start putting the final layers on top that it starts coming together. You can sort of, I wanted you to see the process. I'm going to fix this as well because it's more like, oh, not like that. Needs to be around here. Like that, I think. Stick back in. Now this bit at the bottom is the bit what I wanted it to be, a bit darker, isn't it? Right, I'm going to get a bit of pink now and start putting a bit of pink on top of this colour that we've got, and I'm even going to use a bit of this in the beak as well because it's got a bit of this sort of beige colour on some parts of the beak, and this is where we're going to start adding the textures in, because we're going to just start blobbing colours on, sort of, well, sort of, could call it that. But I'm going to use a smaller brush for this as well. I'm going to find my what size is this? A size 2, so we've gone down a bit in size. So let's use this and get some pink on. Let me wet the pink. Now the thing is with pink, it'll look very bright when I first put it down, but with gouache, pinks, your lighter colours, no, I need to get this. I'm contradicting myself. I need to make this lighter, should I say, because your lighter colours go down darker. I'm confusing myself now. So I want this to be quite a pale pink. Get myself all confused. Right, so that should be okay. It's just a hint of pink in this, what I'm mixing at the side. And then we're going to get some going on. So near the top of the beak, I'm going to pop some, because it seems to be quite pink at the top. don't mind me, we can neaten up our lines in a minute. Let me get round this end. So I'm going to spend about 10-15 more minutes on this, and we're going to call it a colouring chat. And you might be able to see this as a sped up video if I manage to retrieve all the footage and sort of turn it into a short, as well as making it into a colouring chat. If I can turn it into a shorts video, you'll be able to see the whole process time lapsed. So you'll be able to see the end point, because the end point's the best, where you're putting all the feather strokes in. I love it. I'm not gonna lie, I love it. I don't know why I put all that base down of this grey, because I am going to make all this top part pink, I think. At least up to there, and round the nostril a little bit. Let me dip back in, I need some more water on this. Just go around that. This bit's quite pink, but then where it separates, it's black down the middle, and it comes from here, doesn't it? So about here is pinky. It's gonna be so cute when it's done this. So cute. Here is where it's going to be mixing with the other colour though, I think. Might even, yeah, I'll just leave that grey line there, so I'll not quite go up all the way to this. I'll not touch it, and then we'll leave that little line there. This bit's going to be a paler pink, so I'm going to add some white to that in a minute, but I'm just going to map out this little line that's just going to be there. Like that. Like I said, there's going to be lots of layers here. Lots of layers. Is anybody planning on joining in with my colour along for my birthday? Do you like colouring animals? Would it be a challenge for you to colour an animal? There's lots of books with animals that have been released at the moment. Right, this side, the top of this bit is going to remain grey, so there's like a little line at the top that's remaining grey. I find that line. Sort of. Do that. And underneath here is more or less all pink. Let's add back into the paint. Again, I'm going to leave a little line between that and this. Marking up where our little lines are still here. I think that one went there. Hope it did. I'm gonna leave a little bit of grey peeping through there as well. Now I'm looking back on my reference now because I painted over these lines, I've lost some of the lines I made, so I'm going to try and find those lines again. So I'm going to make this pink brighter for this side over here that I want a bit lighter. I'm going to order myself some more paints as well. I think I've done 25 paintings so far. 25 paintings, so you can imagine the amount of paint I've gone through. And the sunset painting that I did the other day, oh my gosh, I nearly threw it across the room. Honestly. Oh gosh, I made so many mistakes on it. It was starting to annoy me, and I was like, oh, you are going down. I painted over it about 3 times, I'm not even joking. So this bit here is a touch lighter than the other pink that we've used. And then I'm going to dip into this beige colour now, because this is where we've got a bit of the beige tone coming through. I'm going to lighten it up a bit. I'm coming from the edge of the nose. Almost. I'm just thinking that's supposed to be touching this bit, isn't it? That's supposed to be up here. That bit's going to be a darker colour, this bit here. But this bit generally attaches onto here. And there's another bit that goes here. This is all the parts of the beak. I'm trying to get in. So what is this kind of colour? Mixing in with the pink there. I'm going to deepen it up just at the top bit as well. And then I'm going to dip back into some of the grey as well. Let's clean my brush off. I'll try and zoom you in a bit more, but it keeps going blurry for some reason. Every time I zoom in, it's like going blurry. Let's add a bit more of the grey there. And under here. I'm going to add a bit of pink into this grey now, so it's like a pinky grey colour going in there. If you add some water onto your brush, you can blend out the edges. Just clean your brush off. Go. Let's get that dark bit in, really dark brown here now on this bit. Let's add a bit more black into it. So really dark brown this bit here now. Almost looks black. I'm thinking about bringing this grey bit down a bit more. There's too much of this black, but I'll have to wait for it to dry now. There's too much of this dark colour here. I'll wait for it to dry, then I'll bring that bit down a little bit to here. I'm going to get that black nostril in now as well. These nostrils, let's just get those in, and they're done. Oh, enough water dripping off if I don't clean that off. Better. That's one. This side comes out more like that. There we go. Now I need to pull this pink round over that nostril as well. I forgot about that bit. Dip water back in here. We're in the nostril, and that's where it ends. The pink, just a little bit here. And then we need to dip into the dark grey now. Got so many colours mixed up on this palette now. So many colours. Oh, emergency vehicle on the way. So this dark colour is coming over the nostril. I'm trying to look at the other side now and just see. See, we've got the light hitting this side, so this side's a bit darker on my reference. I'm gonna pull up some of this darker grey just up here a little bit. Now you can sort of get all the little textures in. Let me turn you around a little bit. I think it's this one, isn't it? Put that little line in. There's still lots to do on that beak. Still lots and lots that I need to do. But I'm just going to pull this down a little bit. So the grey I used, I think it was this lighter shade that I've got going on here. Hopefully. If not, we can go over the whole nose and make it the same colour. But we're going to be putting textures in anyway over the top. So it doesn't really matter. But I want to bring it down to this point here. That's it. It has got a little bit of pink on the end of here as well, which I will pop in at some point. Well, that's what we've got so far. It's still at the ugly stage. We like to say there's an ugly stage and this is it. This is still it. It's not getting pretty yet. But once it is done, once all the feathers, once you start going in with them feathers, guys, honestly, it just changes the whole look of the painting. So please keep an eye out for notifications. Hit that bell, because I will be trying to time lapse this so that you can see it all in a YouTube short, so start to finish, because obviously we've not had time to finish it on here. But yeah, please do hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.